Hello, everyone, and good evening, and welcome to episode 3 of my live podcast series titled The Booncast. It is a pleasure to be back again for a nice and relaxing evening with all of you. Norman is already in the chat. Greetings from the Bermuda Islands. I hope you have better weather than we have here in Europe currently. The Watcher is here, X the Great is here. Everybody's watching the GT World Monster Race to the end, I think. I should have started maybe 10 minutes later, but we can get some people in here after the race, hopefully. So, tonight, really awesome special guest after the first two episodes. I will have Dan Terry from SimRacing.gp with me, talking a lot about what has been happening in this terrific project and what is coming up in the future, at least hopefully, you know, stuff that he's allowed to tell us. You never know, because the guys have some really cool projects going on. And Gridfinder is also in the chat. Hey, boss. I know he doesn't like that. So, I think while everybody is just jumping in, let's get warmed up. Let's switch to the other studio and let's see if Dan is already there and if we can get started. Hello, Dan. Good evening.
Hello, how are you? You alright?
Yeah, I'm brilliant. Amazing. Good to have you, mate. Good to see you. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well. Yeah, really well. Very busy week, but no, it's good. It's good to get here, good to chill out, good to chat with some of your viewers and some of our members, and just have a nice chill Saturday evening.
Yeah, what could be better than, you know, I mean, I just read what was going on when you had your like open beta launch and the stuff that's happening, and basically Jimmy breaking your web.
Yeah, he gave us the big hug of death, and we have now recovered and completely recovered. But it was good fun. You cut no launch / move to open beta is ever smooth.
Absolutely.
But the numbers were amazing, to be honest, on launch night. They were a lot larger than we anticipated, which gave us the issues that we had. So
I think it doesn't matter if you're like a smaller community or a smaller project or a huge gaming company or a huge publisher, they all are just struggling when they launch something.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we had an expected number that we would like to hit, and that was sort of blown out of proportion. There was when we went down and had to start recovering, we were at 100,000 login attempts in 15 minutes. So it was like, yeah, this is happening, which was good. It was a good problem to have, but yeah, it was good. It was good.
Yeah, it definitely is a good problem. I mean, it just shows you that I'm just amazed at how much this niche and this community, sim racing in general, is still it's growing, and it's growing in popularity, and so many people are coming in, and it shows you that there is so much demand out there for like cool communities, and you know, racing like have opportunities to race with like-minded people and then find communities. It's crazy.
Yeah, definitely. That's the thing, and that's what the big thing that SimRacing.gp is all about is the community stuff. It's giving the tools to build a community to the likes of yourself, Stefan, with your community, and the many other communities that we've got on board.
Yeah. So we got a bunch of people already jumping in the chat. Hey Jason, how are you doing? Gridfinder. It's nice to have Gridfinder Tom in the chat as well. That's so cool. I started with the guys another amazing project that is now coming into the next version. So we have some really cool things actually coming up in the world of sim racing. It's gonna get I think this year is probably, even after the last year saw like a huge spike already in like sim racing and many people joining in, but I think this year is getting even better with like Fanatec and GT World Challenge doing their collaboration, and we just had the first race, and I think fuel numbers were just through the roof.
Yeah, and they all still sent it into T1 at Monza, which is quality to see. It's not just the top sim racers, ladies and gents. It's the top real world drivers as well.
Yeah, I think we need to kind of cut that out, and like whenever somebody's getting frustrated that he's getting punted in an open lobby, we just like, look, there are like pro race drivers.
Look, it happens over there.
They should know it better, but they don't give a shit. It's just a game.
Yeah, exactly. You wouldn't see him. You wouldn't see him doing it tomorrow at Monza in the real world. But hey ho, it happens.
Yeah.
These guys are learning the it's like the shoes on the other foot. We're all sim racers that would love to be real world racers,
Oh my
and
god, yeah.
they're real world racers that, well, they've been asked to be sim racers for a day.
Sure, why not? I mean, there is no consequence.
Well, some of them are really good, like really great, like sim racers as well. So, I mean, they're all still better than me. So
Yeah.
that
Hey, Caden is in the chat. Andy, Patrick James, Anthony says, "What's up, Dan?" Cool.
Hello.
It's getting full here. That's awesome. I mean, I saw the GT. Well, at least I saw part of the GT4 race that happened this afternoon, and they had like, well, as long as I watched it, it was the second safety car phase. It was like 15 minutes already, so they really just send it. You would think like, oh my god, I mean, even these GT4 cars are not really cheap. I mean, and it took like, I think even in the first or second lap, you already had an Aston Martin just hitting the wall, first safety car, and you're like, what's going on there?
I have no idea. I went to where did we go? Went to British GT at Brands Hatch last year, like in between all the lockdowns, and I took my little brother with us as well. And we were sat on turn 1 at Brands Hatch, the one that goes that round and down the hill. We were sat in the grandstand there, and the whole time we were going around there for this 2-hour race, my little brother was going, "There needs to be a crash. There needs to be a crash." 2 Aston Martin GT4s, both teammates, last lap into the side of each other, both off into the gravel, both out. They were P1 and P3, and he was like just going nuts.
Grid Finder, Dan, your shirt is outstanding.
I've got many of them. This is like the running trend. I said to Steve, who's the sort of the big boss man at SGP, I said, "Do you want me to wear merch, or do you want me to?" And he was like, "Nope, just have fun with it. You do you." And just it's kind of a bit of sort of a thing that we had on Wednesdays. We are actually all human beings, and if you sit there wearing merch like a robot, it's a bit like yeah, like people don't, the people aren't as forgiving as everyone was on Wednesday. So he was like, "No, just we are all human." It's just a big lad in a shirt that barely fits. I have to breathe in as I'm talking.
Just whatever's comfortable. Which it doesn't really sound comfortable, dude.
It is. I mean, I have comfortabler shirts, but this was the one I liked when I got it out of my wardrobe. So
awesome.
I've also just seen on your overlay as well that there's like wires in your overlay, and I'm like, well, actually, there's just a massive bowl of wires behind me. So
yeah,
we haven't got the professional backgrounds either.
It fits the theme of the cyberpunk, you know.
Yep, that's fun. It's just yeah, it's all great fun, but that is good.
Hey Booster, welcome to the stream. Jason, Boonatix, are you returning to ACC Assassin Season 6? Whew, I don't know. There's so much going on with my community and Grid Finder and so many races, and I've noticed right now that the more races I had, kind of how to say that you know, the more stressful it gets, you kind of lose the focus. You not necessarily the fun, but if you have to like train for 3 different tracks in a week because you kind of want to perform, you don't want to crash.
Yeah, definitely. That's what I've noticed a lot of as well. Is unfortunately I've gotten to the approach of I'm happy with where I am now, so I'll just turn up and race.
Yeah, that sounds like a good plan.
We'd love to have you back for season 6, but like we're both busy people, especially with, and we'll talk a little bit about your community on SGP. Yeah. What have you got going in your community?
I mean, so far it's just barely a race per week, but what I've managed to accomplish so far, it seems like, is that I've kind of created like some sort of safe haven for beginners. In my past community races, I had people jump in who had never raced a race in multiplayer ever before in ACC. So I actually got them to jump on. They kind of trusted it and felt comfortable, and that was like a huge boost of confidence to myself that I'm on the right track with the community, with the project. And it kind of worked. I mean, you have the occasional hazard that you have someone punting someone else and someone maybe taking it too serious, but that's the approach of my community races, to just have a relaxing atmosphere where you can jump in and have fun and like trust that the other guys are respectful as well and not go mayhem on you when you do a mistake or crash somebody or something like that. So I want to kind of expand on that, and we have some in between some fun events, like for example we did a Maserati only race at Spa-Francorchamps, and it was hilarious. We had a lot of people like thinking, I don't know, I can't drive the Maserati, I don't trust it, and I don't feel confident. And then we had the other people that said like, okay, just screw it, I'm just gonna give it a try. And then suddenly there were people who had a pace where you were like, how the hell is he doing that? He's struggling with GT3s, and then you sit him in the Maserati GT4 and he's just sliding through every corner, making a good pace and having a lot of fun. So that's the next step then, to have more like these fun events, Porsche Cup races. And another idea is some sort of like conga line event where we have a leader car, either it's me or someone else, who sets the pace, and all the other drivers have to follow in a line, no overtaking, no punting, to kind of like, have this aspect of learn how to anticipate your opponent. When do you need to brake, when do you need to accelerate and stuff like that. So just help the people who are getting into ACC and enjoy online racing and learn something in a safe environment. That's like where my community is kind of heading. No championship, no crazy point stuff.
It's just fun stuff, helping people learn, helping people get better, and that's the thing. Like, we've got obviously that from your side, with a mix of some of the really competitive and some also the branded stuff as well on SimRacing.gp with Fanatec, and we've got another competition that we're launching on in the next week or so with Next Level Racing. They're going to be back for another, but this time we've not done a championship with Next Level Racing, and we're doing a full sort of GT3 championship with them, because they've been amazing through all of our closed beta work and all of our any crazy ideas that me and Steve come up with. They're like, yeah, we'll support them. Let's give it a go. So we've got a Next Level Racing GT3, the next iteration essentially of the GT3 Cup that we had in closed beta, but this time it's going to be a championship. So there's lots of a mixture of things on SimRacing.gp.
I mean, I noticed that since you opened up the login and registration sets, I kind of actually forgot to check my own community, and it was like on Friday I checked my community applications because I unlocked it, and suddenly I had like 30 applications. I was like, oh boy, it's starting. It's getting serious now.
It's nuts. Like, it's absolutely nuts. Like, obviously we both know like Mike from SimRacing 604 as well, and like there's no hiding away from it. They are the biggest community by far on SGP, and his numbers went from like 1,500. He was like the biggest by far before we moved to open beta, and then we've been in open beta now for 4 days, and he's now at like he's nearly added 1,000 members to his community.
That's
just
crazy.
He's open to everyone to drive, and it's just absolutely nuts to see the growth that are there. And I mean, like we said, from the numbers on launch night of those 100,000 login attempts, there was 17,000 unique users trying to create an account. So that's 17,000 sim racers that want to get involved with these communities, and that's the real enlightening thing to see. We sit there and we project all our numbers when we're talking to brands, to communities such as yourself and some of the other guys that have been taking part in the closed beta, and we show them all these numbers on fancy slides, and you do get this little element of, they're just saying that because they want us to come on board. But actually now we can sit there and go, well, here's the numbers we projected, and here's the numbers that we actually got, and actually the projection was lower than what we achieved. So it's really nice to see that there are so many people out there still.
And it will be more.
Yeah, exactly, and it will be more, and that's the thing. And it was like that with Jimmy giving us the hug of death. So
you could actually now do T-shirts like Jimmy killed open beta or something.
Well, Steve was like in the background, because Steve is, and for those that don't know about the connection with Jimmy being a partner in SimRacing.gp, is Steve, who's our sort of CEO, as it were, or the big boss man at the top. He's Jimmy's cameraman. So he has worked with Jimmy for years on all sorts of projects, and they've gone.
That's awesome.
And they've always wanted to work together on a project, and this was the project that came up. So Steve was already mic'd up to sit in on Jimmy's stream and talk him through the platform, and make sure that everyone was getting involved, and all these viewers, so Jimmy could just race and have fun with his viewers, and Steve was going to do all the admin, and it was like, we can't do any of that because the platform's gone down. But it was so Steve was like, it was a very stressful but really, really fun and eye-opening evening to how crazy you sim racers really are.
Yeah. Hey, good evening, Madam Mims. We have Mimsy in the chat. How are you doing?
I recognise Madam. I haven't heard that name in ages.
Yeah,
That's my
Mimsy.
favourite name in sim racing for still is probably for quite some time.
Now that I actually somebody explained to me where it came from, I also think it's one of the coolest names. But to me, he's like just like Mimsy, you know. So yeah, I was surprised when you told me about like the connection of Jimmy and Steve and SimRacing.gp, and it's that's really cool to see actually. And I mean, of course, I think everybody who is like in sim racing is following Jimmy, and now the adventure he's taking on is just exciting to see. I'm really curious to how he will do. I think he will be in a world of pain after his first race in the hypercar.
Yeah, in the Prague, it looks like I've seen some of the prep work, and obviously we've chatted about some of the prep work, and it's some of the stuff he's been going through to get himself in physical shape as well.
And
to
we
be
have
ready to race.
We have the Steve in the chat.
Oh, the boss is in the chat.
Followed by Paul Glover.
Oh God! So we've got the boss in the chat and the person that wishes he was the boss in chat.
Paul thinks you're wearing a questionable T-shirt. I like it.
Paul beat me today. We had a 2.4-hour endurance race around Spa, and Paul absolutely smashed me to pieces. So he has got fair gain for a couple of days to rub it in my face. So it's fine.
Okay, so I mean, what I would be actually interesting to know is like, where did you guys start with? Like, I mean, before SimRacing.gp, you kind of were you already involved with like race department, or where did you come into play at all?
I came into part with Steve at ACCSS. So we were racing Project Cars 2. A few of me and my friends were racing Project Cars 2 on PC. We got it in a humble bundle. And we had an Xbox controls. Didn't even have a rig. This was you're going into like the start when the stereotypical when a sim racer started his career less than a year ago or towards a year ago when lockdown started, and they had a humble bundle. I think it was like Racing Month or Fast Month or whatever it was. The Project Cars 2 was in there and a few others. I think the original AC was in there, but we were all on Project Cars 2 and just absolutely smashing around like open lobbies on there. Joined a couple of communities and got racing. Didn't really enjoy we weren't quick enough. Like we were rookies. We were like really like slow, and they were like the fastest of the fast guys. So we met some really nice people. Some people I still race with now. Ryan Ware being one of them. Those that name you'll recognise anyway from sort of GT4 mastery at the moment. But we all raced together on Project Cars 2, and then going through Reddit, and we see this amazing video of this guy wearing an amazing shirt with some amazing editing skills, and it was Steve with his first season like announcement and announcing sort of ACCSS was open and they were going to be using simracing.gp, and we were like, okay, cool. It's for rookies, which we are. It's for rookies and mid pack, which is what ACCSS still is. We're gonna go race on there. It's on ACC. We've got a bit bored of Project Cars 2 now. We're gonna go race on ACC. With these guys, and then just this wonderful relationship started between myself and Steve. And Steve was obviously looking after and running, and he was the owner and the brain behind ACCSS. And then he got snapped up by SGP and the workload that had there, and asked me to take over. I've just seen your comment in the chat while I've been like talking. It's thrown me right off. I'm gonna feel like I need to change. Like,
you see.
But yeah, and then essentially, yeah, Steve went off to work with SGP and race department, and asked me to take over ACCSS, which we've been doing now for the past sort of 4 or 5 seasons. And then, sort of the turn of the year, I helped Steve with the G2 event, which you can see on my wall. It's here. I have the posters on my wall from events I've worked on. So we worked on the G2 event together, and Steve was like, "We'd love to have you on board as sort of community manager, sort of into marketing, and like sort of looking after some marketing for SGP." Essentially, Steve was. I'm not trained in that area. I used to be a teaching assistant in a school before this, so Steve was like, "Yeah, let's work on something together," and here I am. So it is all down to the relationship with Steve and the amazing things that he's done. And to be honest, if you've not seen some of his videos, you need to go back and find his YouTube channel for some of his ACCSS videos. You think my shirt was bad? He's wearing one covered in cows. So
Well, I mean, I spoke to him a lot once I got involved in ACCSS a bit with you guys, and I saw his videos that he did, like the test for the direct drive and the stuff for race department. I was like, dude, I mean, it's amazing work. You really noticed that you have been doing it for a long time. So yeah, that's really cool. And but for me, the question is, where did like SimRacing GP come from? How did that? I mean,
yeah,
was
so
the who
so
did
Sim-
SGP? Do you
yeah,
know
so
that?
SimRacing GP is sort of the brainchild of Thomas, who is our sort of our lead dev and our dev, and some of you will know him from the Discord and have seen him in the chat. Basically, he does all of the stuff behind the scenes. Me and Steve promote it really well, and we handle all the marketing. And Steve handles all the marketing. But actually, SimRacing GP is the brainchild of Thomas. And it is all his amazing work, all his amazing ideas mixed with the communities and the drivers that are being using the platform in closed beta, all of their amazing ideas, all directing this sort of force towards open beta and into the public eye. And yeah, so Thomas was the brainchild behind it. And then obviously you've got Bram at race department that's involved as well. And all these people just come together and all add a little bit to this. We've got a relatively small team of 4 or 5 of us. But sometimes it looks like we're a massive team of like 20, 30, 40 people working behind the scenes to get some of this stuff out. But no, there's just 5 of us and an extended dev team behind the scenes.
I think if it keeps going like that, you kind of need 35 people.
Wednesday night felt like we needed 35 people, but no, it was good. And the thing is, as well, with just a small select team focusing on it, we can make sure that things don't get missed as well, because we can hold each other all accountable for it. So that is why so many of the ideas from the community owners in the closed beta are on the platform or being developed to be on the platform, because we see them and we take them down, we acknowledge them, we note them, and we keep track of them. And if they're going to fit in the grand scheme of things for SGP, we'll develop them and we'll put them on the platform for you guys to use. One of those is the series tools that came out with the open beta. These were something that we've been pushing for ages, and some of the community owners have been pushing for, which is essentially a series is very much like an open string of races where you can have an indefinite time frame, and you can just set up races as much as you want, and drivers can just turn up and race, and they can earn points towards a global, like a big leaderboard in their community. And then you can end the series whenever you want, say after 5, 8, 10 weeks, or a whole year if you wanted to, and have a winner. But these all came from ideas from the communities and the communities that are on the platform since the closed beta.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, it was really cool to see, because I had no idea about any of these community tools or like communities in general. When I got into ACC and sim racing, I was like, okay, wow, where the hell can I race? And I think like SRXP and then ACCSS were like the first communities, and then basically the only communities where I got involved, and then started to hear about SimRacing GP. And it's so cool, because when I had my community, my stream, and I thought like at some point I need to like have a server for people to jump in and have some fun and show some stuff on stream. And I was like, oh my god, but I'm not really a fan of getting into this technical stuff and setting a server and commands and configurations and stuff. And then Steve just invited me over, and I was like, wow, okay, that's cool. It just basically takes me 5 minutes to set up a server, and that's it.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. Like, we have this, like, I understand JSONs in ACC a little bit. Thomas understands them inside out, left, right, and center. And Steve understands them probably the same level as I do. And it's essentially like, we can go and make an event for our community. Like, for example, you can go and make an event for your viewers to go and race in minutes. Whereas normally it'd be like, right, I've got to change this JSON, I've got to go and change this JSON, I've got to actually go and rent a server as well from somewhere. That can be difficult. Who do I rent from? Is this one cheaper than this one? Do I get more benefits if I rent with this company instead of this company?
Absolutely.
But no, you just come on SGP, you just build the event you want to build, you race the tracks you want to race, you race when you want to race, and you can make those decisions in a couple of minutes. You can actually just enjoy. Like, if we didn't have SGP, like, I wouldn't be able to do what I do. I race, as you know, I race alongside my community. Whereas if we didn't have SGP to do that in ACCSS, it wouldn't be possible, because I'd spend so much time underneath JSON files that it just take all the fun out of it. Whereas SGP really cranks the fun into it, by how simple it is.
Absolutely. Steve just says in chat, it's like I will benefit from the series tool. I'm really looking forward to that. Let's see what we can do. So anyway, we had some people already cranking up the yeah, don't know how to say that now. the atmosphere for the racing that's going on. We had, I mean, Jesus, this weekend is crazy. I don't know how many people are following MotoGP with the return of like the legendary Marc Marquez after he has been struggling to come back for over a year now because of his injury. We have Formula One on Imola, and it's just freaking amazing to watch them go around this track, because the cool thing is I now driven this track in a simulation game that's pretty accurate, and this gives you a so much more different perspective to the kind of speed these guys are taking the corners. And I'm sitting here like when I see the speedometer, the speed trap, and they go around through like I don't know which one, but they have like over 200 kilometers per hour, and I'm like, Jesus Christ. The G-forces.
I can carry that much speed through this corner.
Yeah, I have to try that now in Assetto Corsa Competizione.
If Lewis can do it, so can I.
I'll just hop in the Merc and give it a try. Yeah, and that's amazing. And then we have the GT World Challenge now ramping up at Monza. The what is it called?
It's the Fanatec GT World. What, the virtual one?
What's Monza called? It's the off speed, the arena of speed. No, what is it called? Jesus, they said it like 10 times tonight. I forgot it already.
I'm gonna Google it while we chat. Monza of speed. Temple of Speed.
Yeah, the Temple.
Of Speed. There it is. Yeah, I should know that. Now I've seen it. I'm like, what? I know that. Why do I have to Google it?
We're not worthy.
Marcello in the chat. Temple. Yeah, see, he knows. Everyone, these guys should be on here.
All right,
we'll be
nice.
In the chat.
Cool. So we blamed ourselves. Now we got that out of the way for tonight. Nice. Yeah. The Temple of Speed, absolutely. I watched the GT4 race. I didn't see the GT2 race. Obviously, it looks like the GT2 race was really crazy with some nice cars.
Oh, the Expos look amazing in GT2.
The new ones, right?
Yeah, the
GTX.
They look. I saw a snippet of it earlier before I popped out, and yeah, the Expos look phenomenal. I think someone in the Discord earlier when they were talking when all of it was on was like, the GT4 ones look like a Lego car. These look like absolute like Batmobiles.
yeah, because the ones in the GT4 are like really the old ones. I've driven in a KTM Expo like 12 years ago as a passenger. We had one in Austria for like an exhibition for my previous company. And I mean, it's a massive fun tool. It's like a huge go-kart. You don't have any electronics in there, no ABS, no TC, nothing. And you basically can take off the steering wheel. When you park it and go shopping, you go shopping with the steering wheel. Because there is no other way to secure the car. Like
it's like you need a rucksack with like a laptop pouch that's big enough for a steering wheel. But no.
Yeah.
What have we got? Steve directed me to a question that I need to answer in the chat. Let me have a look.
Question from Norman.
Norman. How good is SGP with racing and overlays with OBS and vMix? So it's really, really easy. So essentially, we'll talk about, because there's 3 games on SGP at the moment. There's ACC, Assetto Corsa, and Race Room. So from an ACC point of view, you just log in as a spectator. You do all the fancy overlays like Stefan's got here. Or for other examples, the pit crew, they do a lot of live streams and they have their own overlays. And they can stick them on OBS. Then you just stick the spectator view of ACC underneath. So essentially, you just join the server like a spectator with the spectator password, and you can plod along and watch like you would normally.
Yeah.
With AC, it's a little bit different. You need to be on the entry list, obviously, with AC to be able to spectate. There's no dedicated sort of spectator mode, as it were. So you need to be on the entry list to do that. But again, if you've had any experience spectating AC races and broadcasting AC races in the past, you'll understand where I'm coming from. And again, it's very simple. You just sit in there like a spectator and you do all the work on OBS or vMix, whatever one you're using, to make it look amazing. Race Room, honestly, I can't really answer that too much because I don't have a whole lot of experience in Race Room. I know there is a certain way you have to log in as a spectator for Race Room. I think you have to do a few bits in Steam. to log in as a spectator on Race Room, but it's the same thing. All we essentially do is we provide you the servers to race on, and then or spectate, and then you can do all the rest in OBS. So or vMix, whichever one you use. I use OBS. I don't know. I'm not too sure which one you use, Stefan, but yeah, I use OBS for all the ACCSS stuff, and a lot of the stuff that you would have seen with G2 in the past as well was all done on OBS with SGP servers running in the background.
Yeah, I use the Streamlabs version, so Streamlabs OBS, which is just a more bloated up thing, but because it integrates everything. So, but there was another question from David Ward. Can you have people just join events, or do they need to sign up? And if they sign up and don't turn up to the race, do they then use up a slot?
Yeah, so essentially they can't just turn up and join at the moment. They have to be on the entry list essentially. So they have to sign up as a participant. So they have to go on the website, create an account, make sure you sign up before you try and sign in. So if you're not on simracing.gp already, then head over there. And then you can search through the communities, find a race you like, click on the race, and then you just click on the car you want to drive. And then your name will appear on the participants list, and you're in the race, essentially. So when the server boots, you can go on there. In terms of drivers not turning up, yes, they do take up a slot. We are aware this is an issue, especially in bigger places, and we are developing a more sort of reputation model. Instead of sort of we are looking at a ranking system, but more of a reputation model. So if, for example, people, as me and you will know, Stefan, because we've done a lot of racing together.
Yeah.
For owners, it really reputation spreads quicker than a statistic. Like I know who's going to sign. I know if someone signs up to my race on SGP, I know they're probably not going to be there. And that's because their reputation spreads a lot quicker. So this sort of reputation model is essentially looking at if they've signed up, if they actually turned up and raced, and if they left. And then owners can track that, and they can do what they want to. Like they can do what they want to with that information. We're, as SGP, are not going to go, "Oh, your reputation is so low you can't race anymore," because it's not for us to do. A good sort of analogy that Steve used while we were developing the platform and talking to communities to come on board is you've got to look at SimRacing.gp a bit like you look at YouTube, in which YouTube provides all of the tools to create content. And for example, Stefan, as Boonatix and his channel, he develops the content and he manages the content. He moderates his own chat. He decides what goes out live and what gets chucked in the bin or turned unlisted or whatever. When we do the same thing, so we'll develop all the tools for you to run a server and run a race, and it's your job as a community owner. Go and find the drivers, get them involved, and if they mess around, it's up to you to decide what you do with them. Maybe you want, a bit like what Stefan was saying earlier, maybe you want to coach them up a little bit, and you want to try and find out what the issue is and see if you can make them better. Or maybe you just haven't got to, like, you're running a really professional, like best of the best sim racing, like centric, really elite community, which people can do, and there are communities on there already that do that. They don't turn up to 2 races, they're out. They're not allowed to join again.
Yeah, of course. I mean, when you get then to the point where, I don't know, SimRacing 604, how many thousands of participants he now has, you just can't then follow up with everyone. So that's where I think when you say like a reputation system or something, when you see, okay, then you have guys who have like from 0 to 100, and you have a dozen of guys with like just 1 point, and you have 1,000 guys with 100 points, you know what to do with these guys and like kind of place them on the bench.
Yeah, and that's the thing, that information is already there in terms of your driver profile on simracing.gp. Like you can click on someone's driver profile and you can see how many races they've signed up to and how many races they've actually attended and how many laps they've actually completed of those. It's not very ergonomic. It's not very easy. It's easy to get to if you know where you're looking, but if you don't know where you're looking, you're not going to find it. Like I've said this now, and probably a lot of people that are already on SGP didn't know that. I'm expecting Steve is that as well, because he's just put remember that. So it's it's like you can click on someone's driver profile and you can see how many races they've signed up for. You can see how many races they've actually turned up to, and you can see how many laps they've completed, which is essentially a way that you can sort of look at the reputation, but we just need to make it a bit more in your face and a bit more arty-farty.
I think that's a very important feature, not only here in this community or at SimRacing, but you see features like that in many other multiplayer games pop up, because like not only people not showing up or like participating, but also toxicity when you have people who are constantly just insulting or not helping or flaming and being toxic and stuff like that. So it's really good when you have automated processes to kind of filter that out, because when you just get drivers who are rage quitting, who are not turning up, and who are just I don't know, abusive and not supportive, you just filter them out. And that's, I think, really important to keep this growing niche of sim racing community just the way it is. And it's, I think, so far one of the, if not even the nicest community and most supportive community I've ever experienced in my gaming career. And that just blew my mind when I got into it.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, the thing is, what I've noticed since like my inauguration into sort of sim racing is actually they're a very mature bunch. That in 90% of them are very mature, they've been around for a long. I mean, Steve he's been in sim racing for 20 years. Like he knows, he's very mature. But there are also the majority, the minority, sorry, and the sort of the 10% where it's like playing Call of Duty with a steering wheel. Is the way that it's a really weird analogy, but it's the way, like, literally, it's like every time someone cuts them off on a straight line, they're like go nuts. Like, but that's what I was saying earlier on, is that reputation internally spreads a lot quicker than a statistic does. And we're in a really nice place at the moment with the community owners that we've got on the platform, where we have an area on our Discord just where the community owners can talk to each other. So like, if person A that runs community B has a really bad experience with a driver, they can just drop their driver profile in that community owners chat, and community owners can make their own mind up. Like, they can make their own mind up with what they want to do, if they want to allow them to drive, if they've got any other experience with the same driver as well. And that's where it comes to sort of reputation does spread a lot quicker in sim racing, I've noticed, because it's a big enough area. It's got obviously massively huge during the times we're in at the moment, but it's still actually quite small in the big scheme of things, where a lot of drivers do recognize the other drivers' names quite frequently.
That's happened to me as well when I'm like racing in ACCSS, and then I'll see some of the people joining into my community races or in others. I'm like, I know that guy. That's cool. It's like a happy little family.
I had it the other day. I tuned into I think it was actually your stream of an SRXP race, and I was like, Ryan's in there, Rodrigo's in there.
Yeah.
These guys all race with ACCSS. Do I not do enough races? Why are they racing over here as well?
No, they just like me.
Yeah, they just follow you. They follow you. You're like the Pied Piper of sim races.
Yeah. Peter says you're the best boss, Boon. Thank you so much, Peter. And the great LTS is, I think, a very, very important question that everyone wants to know about is like, what's coming up? What's on the roadmap for SGP in the near future? At least what can you talk about with us then?
Yeah, so the one thing that is the big thing that is coming sort of next, and me and Steve are very, very passionate about this project, is bringing the possibility of ACC teams, like team racing to simracing.gp.
Awesome.
Like that is our next. We had a roadmap where we looked at sort of variety, which was bringing race rooms to the platform essentially, and then we were looking into obviously moving into the open beta, and then the next one is teams. Our community owners have been. I remember this going back another story. Sorry, Steph. I keep going on these.
Just keep on.
I remember the very first sort of. We used to have these community owners. We still do these like. I would say a coffee morning. It's not. It's like late at night. We've all got some beers in a Discord voice chat, just talking about the things we want to see on SGP. Yeah. And like the devs are in, like our dev team, like Thomas and our team are in there. Myself, Steve, Bram from Racer, all in there, just chatting about what we want to see on the platform. And literally, I remember this very first one after probably a couple of months of SGP being open. It was like, let's talk about teams, and that just took the whole meeting up. Like a 3-hour meeting, just talking about teams. And yeah, it's like that was the big thing that we want to get on the platform, and that is the next big thing that's coming is getting teams there because that is the hot ticket at the moment, isn't it? I mean, you'll agree anyway. I've seen some of your your team racing, and I think is it you and Marcello doing racing together? Doing some team races together?
Yeah, we started as 2, and now we are triple team with me, Marcello, and Tristan, and we have actually. I think this Saturday is coming up the next 6-hour endurance race. So yeah, that's
And
something.
that's the thing. And we really want to have the possibility of having these team events on SGP, because they are just so like, they are so hot right now that they'll just make and they're really difficult, as you'll know, and as other community owners will know that have been doing the team stuff off of SGP recently. They're really difficult to get right, and they've got a lot of sort of niches, and a lot of like driver one has to connect first, or you know what I mean, like all those extra little bits that we just need to make sure we can get them right before we roll it out to everybody.
Yeah, it's like I just remember when I got into ACC and I watched the first like team event on stream, I was like, what the hell is going on there? And there was so much that how is it with connecting? And then there were people struggling because driver one disconnected, and then the whole team disconnected. And I was sitting there, I was like, I will never do that. That's just too much for me. And right now I'm like, okay, it's actually all pretty simple if you just know the rules, although it could be better in the background. And I really hope that ACC Kunos is working on some stuff, because I think until 2024, when they bring AC2, which is kind of, I think, an open secret right now, they got some time.
The worst kept secret in sim racing.
They got some time to improve.
Yeah, definitely. And the thing is, as well, they're definitely listening. Like we've had conversations about while we've been like developing the game onto the platform with them, and they are hearing these things coming from the community about the ways that they could improve teams. But essentially, what people do also need to understand is there are things in ACC servers that are listed as experimental, and some of them are like, this hasn't worked. So I'm like, yeah, because it's listed as experimental. They tell you it might not work. And some of those bits are down as,
The beauty will be it's all automated, and you could set up a 12-hour endurance with 200 drivers in 10 minutes, Steve. That sounds like absolutely, I mean, wow, that will be so amazing.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like, as you know how easy it is to set up a race, that is how easy it will be to set up these team races, and it's going to make some communities on the platform, if not all communities on the platform, that look at ACC, and they're going to be looking at, and it's going to open up so many possibilities to them. I mean, ACCSS, we've been doing our team events sort of behind, like off of SGP, and looking after them ourselves. And we held one on Silverstone, and we gained 300 new drivers in our community. So you've got to think, if that's on SGP, and how many drivers are already on there, like we spoke about, all the numbers from launch, like they're just going to be make these communities so fruitful and so just thriving with drivers that want to get on track and have some fun.
I mean, the cool thing would even be, I don't know, the one thing that I think is a bit unfortunate is like the team endurance races are always so long, and I think what would be just fun is like you see now, for example, in the GT4 is at Monza today, it's a 1-hour race and they do a driver change. So I think there is actually interest out there for some people, or just some friends, or like daddies or mommies who don't have so much time to just have the possibility to join races like that on your platform, where you can just sign up as a team. Mom and dad is driving now when the baby is asleep, and they just can do a quick 1-hour race.
Honestly, I love that idea. I love the idea of a mum and dad racing together.
Or like brother and sister or whatever. Yeah, it's just so cool to have the opportunity then to do like 1-hour or 2-hour races with like 2 drivers that can swap, and you just set it up easily. I mean, that would be an incredible tool for my community to do some fun races and challenges. Yeah.
Steve's gone, that would interest me. I really want to see Mrs. Steve take half a stint and absolutely smash Steve's times round Silverstone. She's got the potential. I know she could do it as well. Steve's that rusty on sim racing now that is. I know she could absolutely smash him around the track. So we're gonna hold. I've been screenshotting some of these things that have been coming up and putting them in mine and Steve's chat as ideas, and that is one that's going in there because I'm going to hold him accountable to that. And we're going to see a Mr. and Mrs. Worrell, team on SGP teams coming soon.
Absolutely, let's make it happen. It's now live on the internet. There is no turning back now.
Yeah, can't go back now. It's on the internet. It must be true. See, this is how it works. But no, I mean, I get where you're coming from though. Like, we've seen these really long endurance races, but actually what
that's on stream now as well.
Yeah, that's there you go. See you later. But that's it. End of stream. See you later. Go and enjoy the rest of my Saturday night.
So Dan, I'm looking for some new moderators.
I've got loads of time on my hands now. I've not got to look after the platform as Jimmy burns it down, so it's fine. But no, I mean, going back to our original point before Steve rudely took us off my head into a different place. Is that I like the idea. I actually really enjoy. We do on Monday nights some like 90-minute sprint races with teams of 2, and that is essentially like what we're gonna what ACCSS anyway. That's what we're gonna like aim for a lot of. And I know like the pit crew on SGP, they've been talking about as well their next like sprint championship being these teams of 2. And I'm sure actually it would really help like communities like SRXP and stuff like that, like some of the guys that you've raced with a lot, like really find some really dynamic combinations that are going to help not just the really long endurances, but the short. I'm going to call them the brother sister endurance races because that just
the brosis.
Yeah, the brosis team races coming soon.
I like the idea. I think it's brilliant.
I've now got loads of time on my hand, Boone, so we can set up a community called the Brosis Endurance Racing if you want, and on SGP. I'll sort that out before I lose all my access.
We do our own league and kickstart it.
Yep, that's fine. I know.
Awesome. Cool. I mean, that's gonna be brilliant. That's gonna make it so much. I mean, I see the struggles with the SRXP, the organization and the time you need to invest. So having these tools would be amazing. Is there like any other feature? I mean, we heard about the rating system. We now heard about team events. Or is there like anything else on the horizon?
There's obviously like we wanna make it so that at the moment, as you'll know, not every tool in a dedicated like JSON, or if you've got access to a dedicated server and a JSON, there's a lot more options on there than there is on SGP at the moment. And we want to make sure that every option is available across all the games that we have, as long as they're like supported by the game, if that makes sense. So as long as they're supported, we're going to have more sims in the future as well. Obviously, AMS2 is sort of next on our list to add to the collection of, or the trio of titles we've already got on there, and that's going to, and we've said it before, we're more than happy to talk to these developers that are making sim racing titles and look to put them on the platform as well, because I mean we've seen the numbers improve for some of these titles since we've started supporting them, which is always a great thing to see. I mean, the other thing we've got coming as well, which is touched on a little bit earlier, is some really cool branded events. Like we've got Fanatec coming up, or Fanatec starting on Monday, so they're doing the Fanatec simracing.gp series, and you can find that in the Fanatec community on SGP.
Nice.
And essentially that's a 3-week series. There's 2 races a day, one in Europe, one in America. Week 1 is all on ACC. Week 2 will be all on AC, and it'll be using the RSS, the Racing Studios Formula 3 cars around a load of, essentially Formula 1 tracks. So they'll be doing, that'll be week 2, and then week 3 is all going to be on Race Room, using some of the amazing content that Race Room's got to offer.
That's cool.
Now the winner of that series, so the prizes are amazing that Fanatec have kindly given us to give away and supported to give us away, which is a podium F1 set. So like the whole setup, DD2 base with a podium F1 wheel. And that's for the overall winner of the series. So that's the guy or gal that gets the most points out of all 3 weeks combined across all 3 sims will win this amazing podium F1 wheel and DD2 set. And cool. There's another prize, which is a McLaren GT3 wheel, which I believe you've got your hands on as well.
Yeah.
I know Steve's got one as well, but I think it's a CSL Elite wheelbase. I could be wrong. But it's a CSL wheelbase, and that's going to go to someone. So every time you complete 100% race distance in one of these series races, so you could just enter one and complete 100% race distance. You could enter all 42. Now, the more you complete 100% race distance, the more chances you'll have of winning. So if you enter all 42 races, complete 100% race distance on them, your name will go in the pot 42 times. And you'll have a chance of winning this McLaren GT3 wheel and CSL base. So there's some amazing prizes with them. And that series is already looking really popular. We've only done the ACC events so far, but we'll put the AC ones up next week, and it's already looking really, really popular, which is good.
Well, yeah, I can only imagine, because that sounds like some pretty amazing races. If we would have the time, I would also jump in, but that's just Too much.
For those that do have the time, every night at, this is time zones, here we go. Every night at 6 o'clock UTC, which is, I think, got 2 hours ahead of you and 1 hour ahead of me.
Yeah.
Behind us, sorry.
Behind us, yeah.
Is a race on the European servers that we host events on. And at midnight UTC, which is 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time in the evening, there's a race on the American server. So everyone can enter any server they wish. Obviously, they're going to have higher ping connecting to the American server if they're based in Europe and vice versa. So 21 races on each region, makes 42 races in total. So there's plenty of racing out there.
That's pretty cool. I saw a question earlier in chat, like, will there be a solution for a console on SGP?
We're not ruling it out. It's not there at the moment. We only support like PC, and we only support the sims that are on there and the servers that are on there. But the biggest thing to say is never say never. Like, there's been a lot of you guys asking as we've gone into open beta about console support as well. And we'll look into it when we get round to it, essentially. We'll look into it when we get round to it. But at the moment, it's not, unfortunately, but we are massively concentrating on the PC side of it.
Yeah, I think PC is like also in terms of like, at least in terms of sim racing, the bigger audience, the bigger market.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there are some amazing console sim races out there. Again, going back to my brother being one of them, I've seen him play GT. Is it GT Sport? That's popular on PlayStation, isn't it? It's GT Sport, I think it is, on his trusty play seat at home, and he's like smashing it against AI. So hopefully we can get some console support out there and build up their networks.
That's pretty cool. Nice. I'm really looking forward to like the team feature. That's what got me most excited, actually.
Yeah, and the thing is as well, like, we're obviously you have the link to Gridfinder, so do we. Obviously, they're one of our partners at SGP, and you'll soon be able to like use the Gridfinder search tools to make easier for people to find your community. So essentially, they're some of the features we're working on with Gridfinder. Is that Gridfinder, Race Department, and SGP, which we've sort of labelled the trifecta of sim racing. It will all talk to each other, essentially. So if you're on Race Department, you'll be able to access communities or find communities on Race Department through the Gridfinder search tools. If you're on Gridfinder, you'll be able to find which communities that are on Gridfinder are using SGP, and quickly connect to the two of them. And obviously, if you're on SimRacing GP, you'll be able to expand your search across all the mods that we use for AC. Most of them are hosted through Race Departments. You can already find them on the mods tab on AC events. And you can see if your community's on Gridfinder and vice versa using SGP. So they're all going to talk to each other, which is going to be a really, really nice feature to have.
That's cool. If you ever need a console tester, we have Dynamic Kinetic Racing. His name is Mike. Yeah, he's doing his own Xbox League, and he has experience in that. So if you ever need a tester, be sure to have him on
definitely.
your
I have to reach out to him if we ever get around to run on it. If we do, it will have to be Xbox before PlayStation, because I've got an Xbox. So we're not getting into console wars right now, but it'll have to be Xbox first.
Absolutely not. Hashtag PC Master Race.
That as well. Yeah, I mean, it is, to be honest. Let's be honest here. Is how many of these Fanatec tracks are DLC? So yeah, Steve answered that. 3 out of the 7 are DLCs. I think next week the week after, in AC. I don't think, obviously RSS we're using the RSS Formula 3 car. So that's a free mod from Race Sim Studios. And I think most of the tracks are Kunos made anyway, are in the game, I believe. I think 5 out of 7 are already in AC, but the rest are all, if not, they're all free mods. So we've deliberately targeted stuff that's not going to cost you, the driver, much if any money. And then when we move into Race Room, that's where it gets a little bit more pricey, but Race Room is really, really cheap. I managed to buy three tracks, and a car for, I think it was like £8 yesterday.
Yeah, in comparison to iRacing, it's really nice.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely. I mean, if that was to have a lot more support, a lot more drivers, it could definitely be something that could compete with that, because the pricing structure is so much more user friendly, should we say, in Race Room. But there's not too. I think there's 3 cars. I think there's the cars we're using are the Silhouette series. Yeah, they're the Silhouette series we're using in the race room week. So they're all free. And then I think there's 3 page tracks and 4, I believe, starter pack tracks or free tracks. So it's not going to cost it's not going to cost you an arm and a leg.
Yeah, maybe
to run
there's a way
stuff.
to establish like a collaboration with these guys and have like an SGP startup bundle or something for users.
Yeah, well,
that would be cool.
we've been talking to race room devs anyway, like about the project, and they're like really on board with seeing sort of SGP thrive with their like integration of race room. So we'll see how if the more you guys race on race room on SGP, the more likely that is to happen.
Course, yeah.
So it's definitely something we can look at in the future.
Awesome. Boy, oh boy, you teased so many cool things already.
I'm just when I talk, I don't. As some of you may know, there's 2 different ways of talking. It's where you think before you speak, and where you speak and then you think. And I'm that one. I'll speak first, and I'm like, should I have said that? Am I going to get in trouble for saying that?
Yeah, you already got fired, so there's no worries.
Yeah, it's just true. They go. Let me get the ideas spreadsheet up, and we'll just rattle through them.
Just sell everything.
Yeah. Just drop the Google Doc link in the chat for all the.
So enough serious talk about SGP now. One thing I asked so far everyone who got onto this podcast is like, how the hell did you get into sim racing? Where did it start and why?
Yeah, so it started with being made put on what is the term of it? Being put on furlough by my previous employer, and not having much else to do really. And then we were playing a lot of Call of Duty. That got a lot really boring on PC. And then Humble Bundle sent me over an email because I'm on their mailing list and said there's a motor racing bundle essentially.
Cool.
And they had like Project Cars 2, Project Cars 1 and 2, AC. Yeah, the original Assetto Corsa was on there, and a few other titles as well. And that is where I can remember playing Colin McRae Rally if we want to go that far back on PlayStation 1.
Did you ever play Mario Kart? I played Mario Kart.
Yeah, I've got Mario Kart on the Switch in the other room. Me and the wife love to play Mario Kart. She is better than me at it though. So
I never had consoles when I was a kid. The only basically console I got was like the handheld, the Game Boy, but my parents never got me a real console. So I always had to...
I'll ask you this question then, Boone. Which Pokemon version did you have first on Game Boy?
I think it was the red one.
Okay, that's fair. No, I'll let you have that. That's fair.
I bought the red, the blue, and then I got the yellow one, and that's where it all actually also ended for me because I was starting to kind of grow out of it. But I remember it vividly. It was really cool, actually. I just remember we were going with the school on like a journey with bus, and I had the Game Boy, and everybody wanted to play. So I was getting tired of leveling my own Pokemon, so I just gave it to a friend, and he was leveling my Charizard to a level 99 or 100, what it was, while on the bus. So,
cheating the system even back as a child, Boone. I can't be bothered. As long as you replace the batteries, you can play for as long as you like. Oh, how many sets of batteries I went through with a Game Boy.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. So
So I remember playing Colin McRae Rally was probably the first sort of racing game I played on PlayStation. But then, serious sim racing would have been this time last year. Or February, March time when sort of furlough kicked in the UK with Project Cars 2 was sort of the start of this amazing journey that I find myself on now.
Were you ever like into gaming, or what were you doing when you were younger?
Always been into gaming. Always. Like I played all the way up to like sort of Xbox 360 was where sort of the love for consoles sort of fell out. I hurt my back actually when I was a previous employer, and I was like bedridden for about 3 months. I remember just playing The Division, Tom Clancy's The Division on Xbox for like 3 months. Absolutely loved that game. But it was a lot of shooters before it was sim racing. It was a lot of shooters.
Oh really?
Actually, that's a bit. It was a lot of shooters, but it was also a lot of League of Legends as well.
Oh my god!
Okay. It was a lot of. It's probably the most money I've ever paid for a free-to-play game
Yeah. It's the same for me. It's the same
Yep.
for me. Free-to-play games. Oh, cool. I can get a skin
Oh,
there.
that's a cool skin. What's it do? Like, my wife's sitting over my shoulder. What have you just spent that money on? It makes this character pink instead of blue. It costs £10, but it's amazing.
It's the same like you buying lipstick. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. How much is that foundation that cost? Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I remember
a lot of MOBAs.
There was actually a race game on the Game Boy, on the really first one Game Boy. I don't know what it was called, but it looked like a Formula 1 car and was hilariously awful. But
I'm hitting Google now.
You're hitting Google.
Game Boy racing games. Let's have a look.
There was one. I don't remember it now, but it was like a Formula 1 car from camera was behind it.
Yeah, I think I've seen the picture. Can I put links in your chat, or will it kick it out?
Give it a try.
Let's try that. It is called. Oh, it's called F1 or Nigel Mansell's. No, that was first person. F1 Race 1991.
It
looks like. I think that's the picture that's there. Yeah, Mansell. Yeah, that's on the list. Nigel Mansell's World Championship Racing.
No, that wasn't it. I think it was F1 something. No, link is not really showing up.
No, I'm not a Nurse Akali main, madam. I am probably a Timo main, and at that point I'll leave. See you later.
I think I gave League of Legends a try for like a couple of days, and I was like, nah, it's so toxic and so stressful. I just can't do that. But I spent like 10, 15 years of my life in World of Warcraft, so there's that.
Yeah. I've never played World of Warcraft. You'll have to take me through it sometime. Currently spending a lot of time on Escape from Tarkov. That has sapped a lot of man hours recently. But yeah, I mean, I'll try any game that's available, and then if it's more. I was talking with some friends earlier. It's got to have some sort of progression system to it. It's got to be something like a task line or something like that. Like, it's got to have some sort of progression to it, or it just I haven't got the mentality to play it.
But I vividly remember playing Grand Prix 2 for Microprose. It always comes up. Grand Prix 2, Grand Prix 3 were like the first sim racing games. And it was so cool because in Grand Prix 2, when you could race the old... Oh my god, what was it? Was it the old Hockenheimring or something? The German track with the endless straights.
I think so, yeah. I think I remember that.
The old one. They don't even race it like this version anymore. And the fun thing is, in this simulation, Grand Prix 2, you could just do the wings on like 1 or 0, and then you were so much that you were over-revving the engine in the 6th or 7th gear, and you were just overtaking the AI competition because they were not doing that. They were like having a more realistic setup, but I was just like, put every wing you have on 0 and just floor it, and it was hilarious.
Yeah. I mean, a game again I remember playing when I was younger with Micro Machines. That I've played a lot of. And I'll tell you what,
remember that.
There was a game, which this is going to be really niche, and I'll be really surprised if someone in the chat even knows what I'm on about. So, do you know the film Italian Job?
Yeah.
Yeah, not the decent one, the old one, the new one, the less decent one, the one with Mark Wahlberg in it. So they released a game on the Motorola flip phone, which everybody had at the time, and it was like a mobile game that was racing around on that. I used to play a lot of that.
All right.
It's really niche. If anyone's played that in the chat, I will be surprised.
I remember the first days of Facebook games where they had like Mafia Farmville Mafia. I was playing Mafia.
Literally, when I met my now wife, the now in-laws, so I'll be careful what I say, were literally just coming from work straight on Farmville. Where's all my gifts? What crops have grown?
That was crazy insane. But yeah, der Hasi, Papyrus games, NASCAR. I had the first NASCAR from Papyrus games, I think, where you had to go into DOS and start it, but it was somehow in 3D. It was some sort of 3D, but it looked awful. But the sound and what you could do was just really, really, really cool. It just when you get to the point where you find out driving in an oval is not as easy as they make it look like on TV.
Yeah, exactly. They make it look really easy on TV. I mean, I even struggled on iRacing.
And
Oval racing.
the one racing game I was just playing like hell was, of course, the one and only Need for Speed Underground.
Oh, what? How have we got this far into this conversation and not talked about Need for Speed? What a franchise!
I can still hear the soundtrack when you booted up the game.
Yeah,
Riders of the Storm.
Yeah, 100%. I'm just going to come to sitting down instead of standing, so it might drop down in webcam a sec.
No, everything's fine.
Now we're into Need for Speed territory. I feel like I need to sit down. So, but no, yeah, Need for Speed Underground 2 was probably my favorite one.
Yeah, Underground 2 was amazing with the free world roaming around and the graphics so much better and the cars and tuning. I spent more time rebuilding cars and tuning cars than actually racing, I think.
Yeah, but did you get to the point where you had the NOS brace coming out the bumpers?
Yes.
Yeah. And you always went for the one with the most NOS sprays because you were that sort of, yeah.
The more, the better, yeah.
Like, exactly. The more NOS sprays, the faster you drive. That is how things work.
Yeah, and it was so cool because the AI was cheating. It was even worse in the first part. But when you were overtaking and you were in the lead and you were ultra fast, you could see on the map suddenly as the AI was like zzzt, right behind you. It was so cool. I love the soundtrack. I'm still listening to the soundtrack of the game today. But it's the same with the first Fast and Furious movie. You just watch it. You know it's awful because they have like 20 gears and.
Hey, don't be slating the Fast and Furious franchise.
Well,
it's the greatest movie franchise of all time.
For me, the franchise ends with the third movie. Tokyo Drift is, I think, first one and the third one are my favorite ones, and then it just, for me, unfortunately, goes downhill from there.
But have you seen the trailer for the new one?
Oh Jesus! Just make it stop.
I don't want to do spoilers in the chat. If you've not seen the trailer,
just make it stop. Make it stop.
Honestly. John Cena's in the new one, though, Boone.
Yeah, the long lost brother is coming back for revenge.
You've seen the trailer. All the truth's coming out now, chat. Like, I stopped watching them after 3, and you're literally quoting the trailer for the new.
Yeah, when you watch trailer rotations and they put all the crap in there.
Yeah, sure.
You know, a friend told me. I'm asking for a friend.
I saw it on a bus once as I was sitting there. I wasn't watching it, honest.
I wasn't looking. Oh my god, yeah. Oh, the good old times.
We've gone like completely off top, which I love, to be fair. We've gone like literally, the chat is just filled with games they used for Indy 500, Project Gotham Racing. That's a great game as well.
NASCAR 98 was the one I had, yeah.
I feel like now I've technically lost my job at SGP. We're just going to develop a platform with all these old titles on it, like emulators,
go for it.
like literally Need for Speed emulators.
Some of classic games you just can't replicate or replace. For example, I was playing like a city building game, Caesar 3, I think. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it plays in like the Roman Empire, and it's actually pretty fun. And I just found out like last year you can still get it on Steam and play it. It's just they keep it compatible until today, and it's just one of these games where you just like you can't replicate it. Or the old like Stronghold Crusader where you build your fortress, your stronghold and stuff. There are like games you just can't remake or like there's. The feeling you get when playing them, that's just the most amazing thing.
That's the thing, like some things just shouldn't be remastered.
Yeah.
Like, and talking a prime example of that, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. I was so up for the remake of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2. Got it, day it came out, paid the extortion at like 50 quid it cost. And I literally played it for like 20 minutes, and I was like, yeah, the soundtrack's the same, but that's about it. Like, it's just...
Yeah, for me it was the story with the original. I got the original when it came out, and everybody was like skating and you have to be a skater boy and cool and skater pants, and I was like, what the hell is going on? And I gave this game a try. I was playing it for 30 minutes. And I was like, Jesus, no, that's like.
So you're telling me you didn't have like a dog chain attached to your belt, like belt loops?
Yeah, I had that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I regret that.
Every well-represented male had that.
We got a VIP in the chat, Mike from SimRacing 604.
Oh, Mike, we were talking about you earlier, Mike, and how
we've been talking about
exponentially growing on SGP.
Only good things, Mike.
Yeah, it wasn't. Not saying how you're taking all the members away from everybody else.
Good to have you, Mike. Awesome.
Yeah, it's really like that could actually loop us back into SGP because we've gone and talked about Ridge Racer, Micro Machines, League of
Yeah,
Legends.
that's the live podcast that I'm doing. That's just, you never know where it goes.
I wouldn't listen to Paul, Mike. Like, Paul is just full of lies. It will soon be telling you beat me in a race earlier, and that's lies unless anyone clipped it. But yeah, I mean, like, there's loads of stuff coming in. We've given away a lot of stuff this evening about SGP.
Yeah. I
obviously
mean,
we've got-
if you keep telling more, it might not be a good idea, because then the competition knows as well, and we don't want the competition to know.
I mean, I lost my job early, didn't I? So it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, the big thing is obviously making sure that we did say some really nice things about you and how you are, Mike, and how you are like literally the biggest community on SGP at the moment, and it's so good
Yeah,
that you are.
it's awesome.
To have like literally using the tools like to help you guys out, which is awesome.
Looks like I need to join SimRacing 604 on SimRacing.gp as well and jump into an ACC race.
I think they do a lot of AC. I think it's a lot of AC.
A lot of AC, yes. And I didn't really get into this at that point, but I think I might have to.
I was watching. I tell you what, I was watching Gamer Muscle stream last night. He was streaming with his subscribers on SGP, and I was talking to Gareth, who's like one of my like sort of staff at ACCSS. I said, you need to make. He's like my AC god. If anything I see on screen that's related to AC, like you need to make my AC look like this. And I was like, we were watching it last night. I was like, if it looked like this, I would play it. So we're going to sort that out, and we're going to play some more AC. You don't need to make him get it on the next sale. There already is a sale for AC at the moment.
I have AC with all the packages that are in Steam. I just don't.
There you go.
I need someone to guide me into all the mods and stuff. Maybe Mike's the guy, SimRacing 604. Maybe we can do like a little live workshop on what to install and how to get the mods running and what to do. That might be a cool idea, actually. Because I have no idea. I just installed AC and that's it. Never even started it.
Yeah, I think it's quite good as well, because you get like in AC, there's like a little button in the bottom corner where you can save like one set of like overlays. So, for example, where I race and I do obviously the broadcasting side of things as well, I've got like one set up for when I race and one set up for when we broadcast. So there are two different sets of overlays essentially with the mods that we use, which I really like about AC. But yeah, I mean, some of the guys and and as Michael detested as well, some of the guys that create mods for AC are amazing. Like we've touched a little bit on Racing Studio. Like some of their stuff is like
awesome,
amazing. There you go. See, you've got another show coming up now with Mike.
Awesome, cool, Mike. Oh, that's gonna be so cool. We are going to do something like that. We are going to do, and then we get even more people into Mike's SRGP community and do some cool races. That's gonna be insane.
I'll tell you what. You should start like the mini trifecta of sim racing, and Mike, you should set Stefan up on AC, and then all go and race in the Fanatec SimRacing GP series next week on AC. Like that'd be like some awesome stuff. But I mean, it is a week away, so I understand you influencers and you content creators have got such busy schedules.
No, because for me the challenge is more that it's not my job, unfortunately. Basically, I have my job that's on hold because of the little thing that's going on all around the globe, and we are all closed. And now I've started the project with Gridfinder, which is really cool and a lot to do. And yeah, I'm kind of trying to develop my community in channel. So if I could, like,
There's not enough time in the world. But then if there was any more time, we'd all be complaining that the day was too long.
And of course, I mean, summer is approaching and I'm a motorcycle enthusiast. I've got my bike in the garage and I'm just waiting for the weather to be nice. And then I want to spend some time outside as well. So there's not enough time in this world.
That's the thing, like summer is coming and people are going to, like, obviously everyone's been locked up for so long now that they're going to, including myself, but the one really weird one, we're talking about a couple of, we're helping organize a couple of competitions for other communities on the platform, one of which being Esports Designs Porsche Super Cup, which he's organising, and we were looking for stewards for that race from the connection, a group of stewards that we've got. And one of them works in race department. He's gone, yeah, I'm really up for it, but volleyball season starts soon. And I'm like, I've never met the guy, but I was like, literally, that's painted a picture of what he looks like in my head. And he's like, yeah, like
Yeah.
I'll be really busy with like referee and volleyball games. I'm like, oh, that's that picture gone out the window and replaced by someone else that looks like me sat in a chair with a
Yeah.
whistle.
Thanks so much, Mike. Take care. He's off for his husband and
See you
father
later, Mike.
duties. See you next time. And yeah, we're doing a live workshop of the video he did 1,000 times before, how to install mods for AC. We just make it more fun. We just do it with me in front of the keyboard, like, what is going on?
What is AC Content Manager? What does this do? That is that person, yes, Paul. And I wasn't going to say his name, but yes, it was Ricardo from Race Department who was really looking forward to the volleyball season starting again.
Yeah, for me, it's like I'm at the point right now where I'm actually looking forward to getting a sunburn.
I mean, I am this pale all year round, even without lockdown. I'm
like the first motorcycle tour I just get into the sun and just like, come on, give it to me.
But Paul's sulking in the chat, and Paul is already stewarding the event. Like, I don't like, honestly. This man's. If any of Boone's mods are in the chat, get him out of here. He's not worth being in the chat. You're already doing the event, Paul. You are already stewarding the Porsche Cup on a Monday night. So I don't know what you're on about, but there is another one that we were looking for stewards for, which is what we were actually talking to Ricardo with, which is the Next Level Racing Championship that we spoke about earlier on. That is looking really, that is going to look like it's going to be really fun. Now, Next Level Racing, we talked about how good the Fanatec prizes were. Now,
yeah, I think actually Mimsy had a good question, and I think that's actually a really interesting point for you. Is like, will there ever be an option on SGP to like pre-select which simulations we want to see and which events are on for that? And I think it's instead of like, I think for the moment you just see the communities, but will there be like a way for new users to search of what games are currently supported and what events, and then where do I have to join if I want to participate? So like make it the other way around, like an event browser.
So that's like that's going to come along with our sort of incorporation of the tools that GridFinder provide. Because obviously, if you've been on GridFinder, and obviously, as you'll know, GridFinder 2.0, which looks amazing, by the way, if Tom's still here, and obviously you're here, so you'll be saying nice words to him. But like GridFinder 2.0 looks amazing, and that incorporation will make things a lot. Because at the moment, obviously, you can scroll through the communities, but we've got about 50 communities already on the platform. And my next week's calendar or diary looks chock-a-block with all the communities that have been asking to join during the open beta phase, just coming up to the open beta as well, where we put quite a lot on hold so we can get on that. So there's going to be about another like 40 or 50 communities joining in the next 2 weeks as well. Yeah. So there will be like, when obviously we incorporate the tools from GridFinder, it'll be a lot easier. It was going to be a lot easier. Someone that actually... time pull out. I love it.
Jesus Christ, sorry, Mike is always, he has the finger on the trigger.
Honestly, Mike, you're now replacing Paul because you're as a steward, because you can clearly do a better job than he is at knowing where you've got to be and what you've got to
do. He's blocked now for 300 seconds.
300 seconds? I'm just going to message Paul on Discord on the side. And just...
It's your fault then. It's your fault.
He shouldn't have beat me. He absolutely creamed me earlier in this race. But we were like neck and neck in qualifying. I think he finished 6th and I finished 19th. Like, yeah, he had a great race. But yeah, going back to that obviously question from Mims was, so there'll be a lot more functionality of looking through the communities, looking through the games that you own essentially as well. Because it's like, if you don't own AC, you're probably not going to want to look at the events that AC that the communities hold on AC. You can do that now already, like in the communities themselves. You can like toggle the games you already own. So for example, if you go and if Boone was to set up an AC, an ACC, and a race room race, and you don't ever have one of those games, you can toggle them off so you don't see them, which is good. But yeah, the tools are going to be developed further in the future to make it a lot easier.
That's cool. That's really cool. Nice. There's a bright future ahead. It's gonna be insane.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, all our partners are like helping us get to where we are. Obviously, Race Department, GridFinder, and some of the like Fanatec we've already spoke about. Next Level Racing, they've been really like amazing through the closed beta. I mean, the products they distribute they've got the prizes we've given out already in Next Level Racing. like some guys don't ever have the opportunities to win the prizes that other communities or competitions have, because they always go to the fastest drivers. But Next Level Racing is really all about like inclusion as well, like making sure that if you participate, you also have a chance of winning a prize, which is really, really good.
Yeah, that's nice. It's not always for like the top guys who are always the
I
quickest,
mean,
which just
the
gets boring.
championship we're doing with them, which the details are going to come out in the next couple of weeks, is going to be for about 140 drivers. And the first prize is going to be one of these amazing, I don't know if you can see actually, one of these amazing GT track rigs.
Cool.
So that's going to be the prize for the winner of the top split of the championship. And we're also going to have free GT lights to give out as well. A giveaway as well during the season. So 2 of those are going to be to 2 random participants. And one of them's we're going to have 2 splits in the championship essentially. So we'll have the GT track split, which is going to be the fastest guys. And then the next batch of drivers, which the format will come out soon. It'll all make, I'm being a bit cryptic because we've not finalized all the details yet. But
cool.
Yeah, so as soon as that comes out, you'll have plenty of opportunity to win. Grab yourself some amazing Next Level Racing goodies as well.
As Pete asked, is there anything you wanted to do with the SGP platform that you have not been able to?
Teams was the big one. Like Teams is the one that's really been like hitting a nerve with myself and Steve, that we really want to get it done, but we really want to get it done well. That's the big thing. Like as you guys that will go and explore the platform and see the platform for yourselves, like a lot of it works really well, and a lot of it's really, really simple. Now we need to make ACC teams as simple as we possibly can for the user, and also for it to work. Like, and we've spoke about like the intricacies and the finer details. But when that's there, I want to see Project Cars 2 on the platform as well. Like we've talked about it a little bit. They run off. I think they do run off the same engine or the same back end as what AMS2 does. So hopefully they should kind of come one after the other. As soon as we've got AMS2 on, we'll be able to have a look at Project Cars 2. But the thing is, we want to get as many sim racing titles on the platform, and that is something that I've really wanted to do, is speak to as many of the sim racing sort of developers as possible. Make them aware of SGP, make them aware of the benefits of SGP, and work together, because everything's a lot simpler when everyone works on the same page. Like if the developer of the sim racing title is talking to our dev team, who is talking to the drivers and the community owners, like if everyone's on the same page, it makes the process of getting a title on the platform really, really, quite simple. Like essentially, if we've got a bug, we can just send it straight to the dev, and they can have a look at what we may have got wrong or what they may have got wrong and fix it. Like, yeah,
absolutely, yeah.
So, if anyone wants, if there is any game devs look at wanting to get involved, then info@simracing.gp is where to get in contact with us if you want to have a look around the platform. I'm just doing a little bit of shilling there. Sorry, Stefan.
No, it's just everything's good.
Make sure you subscribe to Stefan's YouTube channel as well.
And hit the like button.
Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. Oh, a long time since I've done that. Oh, Paul's back. That's it. We're over. Cut the stream off.
Nice. So on that terrible disappointment, it's time to end.
To be fair, we have gone through most of the... I've run out of new features to let you know. If anyone's got any other questions in the chat...
I just wanted to say I think we have a good timing, and you talked about a lot of features, so it's okay to like slowly fade out. If there's no other questions in chat, we can just
make sure you all head over to simracing.gp, make accounts, get yourselves into the Boonatix community, get yourself racing along with him. Good to see some Boonatix community races on his live streams.
Next one is coming up Friday, mixed
racing.
There
you go. So you get yourself signed up, get yourself on his community.
Let me just check if we have applicants.
Have you got space?
yeah. No, 2 new applicants. Nice. So
someone mentioned livery. So there will be livery support coming in the future. We already look after a lot of AC liveries, but there will be livery support coming at some point in the future. It's part of our sort of making sure all the tools for ACC are on the platform, and it's gonna go alongside that. But the thing is, like we talked about earlier about support, ACC, as you'll know, Boone, they don't necessarily support external custom liveries.
Yeah, but I mean, there is something that's been worked on. It's not like an integration, but it will be like an easier option to find and get liveries for ACC.
Yeah.
And yeah, but I think that's basically all we can say. So
Yeah, that's what. And as soon as that mystery project is ready, make sure you let me know.
yeah, there's like
what else have we got question wise?
will we have team setups? Paul is asking if you have like a team setup that you can then easily sign up for an event.
Yep. So you'll have part of our sort of payment plan that's coming. We've not actually talked about that, but this is all in beta at the moment. But part of our sort of payment plan is that premium members will be able to sort of create teams for them and their friends to join, and then those teams will be able to enter sort of ACC team events across communities. That there's a lot of on our big whiteboard of ideas in regards to teams, but it will be as simple and easy as Steve said earlier. As Steve said earlier, you could set up a 200 driver 12-hour endurance race in about 10 minutes. Is the sort of the aim we're going for.
Do you have like any like estimated timeline for the team stuff on SGP? Is there like any time frame you want to deliver it, or is it just like you do as you do?
We don't have it's a very political or politician style answer on that. Is if I give a time frame, when that time frame ticks over, people are going to ask me where it is. So no. we haven't got necessarily got a time frame to sort of work on.
Yeah.
But it is like next on our priority list, and the series tools took about a month to develop to get on there. So I mean, obviously there's a bit more to ACC teams than there is for series tools, because we use a lot of the tools that are already built into the platform for it. But hopefully we'll use the even more of a SGP meme of soon.
There's also the soon of another game developer company. So yeah, it's like a running gag for a lot of companies.
Yeah. Looks like the British John Candy. Let me.
You look like the British John Candy, but not as funny.
I don't know that reference.
You don't know John Candy? He's an American actor who died a couple of years, like ages ago.
What's he been in? I'm sorry. I'm just having a look at the IMDb page. Keep yourself busy, chat.
John Candy was in a bunch of fun movies, and he died way too young.
Okay, I think I recognize it from National Lampoons.
Yeah,
I think that's where I recognize him from.
Someone's running away with Serenity. One of our cats just wants attention. There, Kitty, say hello.
Some communities do ban you for using custom liveries. It's because the game does struggle with them.
Yeah.
If you run too many, I think we tried a 2.4-hour race on Suzuka once, and everyone we had about 40 custom liveries out of 50 drivers, and it hurts so many people's computers. It just isn't worth it at the moment.
The technology isn't there yet.
Yeah. Is that a question to me? You drive the Aston. Why did you use that car? Because it's really easy to drive.
I hate DT
I
Aston.
don't have.
I can now really tell it. The endurance races I've been in were just awful. I hated the car so much. And the qualifying I had to do on Paul Ricard, everyone was like, 2 minutes before the qualifying started, yeah, you have to do it. Nobody else has time, and I was like, are you shitting me now?
I remember that. So the Aston at Paul Ricard is just it's not worth. No. I think me and Chris, who we were obviously teamed up with for that endurance race, was talking to me about. We were talking about that race earlier. I got a few track cuts at Spa earlier on. He was saying, "Yeah, I remember when I got 3 track cuts in that endurance race that we did at Paul Ricard in 1 lap."
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah.
That was glorious.
I like the Aston, and as I said earlier on, I don't really have time to practice. So with the Aston, I can just turn up to most tracks and compete. So
yeah, no, it's not my favorite car.
You're never going to drive it again.
No, probably not. I really enjoy GT4 a lot currently. It's so much, even though they are quick. It was such an hilarious race at Silverstone in rainy conditions with the Bimmer. I used, I think my rear wing was 2 or 3. So in the rain, the Bimmer had such a good acceleration that on the long hanger straight, GT3s could not pass me. there was the Merc next to me, and he took the whole hanger straight to just get at least half of his car moved ahead of me. And I was like, it was so hilarious because in the BMW I was sitting and it doesn't feel so fast. Like when you're in the GT3 car, and it was just like, it was so hilarious to see the GT3 car struggling because they always think like, oh god, GT4 is slow, I can just pass it, that's no problem. And then they are like, come on.
Yeah, then you just like right foot goes fast and you're just in front of them. But me and Paul in the chat are teaming next weekend for 4 hours at Alton Park in the Aston Martin GT4, and
you're pretty safe with that, I think.
No, I don't like the track. I don't like the GT4s.
I love Alton Park.
And I'm only there to team with my best bud, Paul.
I love Alton Park, but I think I'm kind of masochistic because I also love Mount Panorama. I think
I love Mount Panorama.
Next to Kyalami, it's my favorite racetrack. It's glorious to go along. So
yeah, I mean, I didn't love Mount Panorama last Monday in a test race we did, but no, I love Mount Panorama, and it's Alton Park. It's just so bumpy.
Yeah, but it's so fun. It's so fun. I love it. I was driving it in the Bentley. It was hilarious.
In ACCSS, we've set up season 6, and all the new tracks are in there except Alton Park.
You're a cheater. You're abusing your position of power.
100%. We had a team test race. Like, we were obviously testing these teams of 2, like, to make a sprint championship out of it, and it was set for Bathurst. And then we had a Bathurst race, like a solo race, a few days beforehand, and I hated it. And I was like, no, we're going to go race on Silverstone. I've not abused my power very often. I'm abusing my power now. So, we're not racing Bathurst. We're going to go race Silverstone.
The hilarious thing in SRXP in the 3rd season now was everybody hates Paul Ricard, and it was voted out in the 2nd season. So in the 3rd season, they just, got it out of the way and just did it. I think it was the 3rd or the 4th race already in the beginning was Paul Ricard, and now we've done it. Rest of the season is fine.
I like Paul Ricard. It's
tricky.
I get why everyone has that opinion of Paul Ricard, but I like it. It's really when you can get it hooked up, it's nice. It's scary in the wet. I agree with that. It's very scary in the wet, but no, it's good fun.
All right, nice.
Awesome.
So we heard a lot about SimRacing.gp. I think you uncovered all the secrets.
And I'll go back to the drawing board and make a load of development choices for the next 6 months.
It was really interesting for me to see and also to get more insight because I jumped on board with Grid Finder and doing the social media stuff for them. The new branding is awesome, but it's just like...
Oh, it's amazing.
I just desperately wanted to kind of get more into this kind of market, into this niche, and I was actually actively looking to get into it, which was so fun because I sent like a CV to another company like I think 2 days before I talked with Tom, and then I got like Tom on a call from Gridfinder and just was asking me about like liveries because they were needing Gridfinder liveries, and then we just started talking. I was like, yeah, I'm doing social media and online marketing, and he's like, oh, we would need help, and then we got talking, and so that's how I got involved with them. So it's just because I was doing custom liveries for ACC and having my community, it enabled me to jump on board with Gridfinder, and hearing then what you guys are doing with Race Department and SimRacing.gp and the complete SimRacing package is glorious. So I'm really excited and really looking forward to what else.
Really going in the right direction, which is great for the most important people, which is the drivers, your viewers, your community members, and all the drivers out there. Essentially, we're all trying to work on one. We're all on the same page, all heading in the same direction to make sim racing awesome. Which is, and it looks really, really bright. Like
as
really,
enjoyable
really
as possible and as accessible as possible. I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah, definitely. The accessibility is, and that's what SGP helps with, making it so easy to make those races. I'll do a quick shout out to some of our partners.
Sure, go ahead.
Steph, and then and also to make sure that you subscribe and like Stefan's YouTube channel and this video. Makes a big, and comment if you're here and just creeping in the corner. It makes a big difference. I know how much of a difference it makes. It makes a big difference. But we just want to do a thank you for Race Department, Grid Finder. Obviously, you know how much of a important they are to us, and to some of our partners that have come on board, and the brands that we're working with during the launch, which is the likes of Next Level Racing, Fanatec, and we've got loads more coming as well soon. We're really looking forward to working with some amazing brands, both sim racing and real world brands as well, to really make, like I said, accessibility for everybody, which is really, really good.
Awesome.
Awesome stuff.
Great. Dan finished his shoutouts. Okay, cool.
Sorry.
So shout out to my mom.
I'm just doing my bit, all right?
She has no idea what the hell I'm doing here. If my parents ever discover this channel, it will be hilarious. Why are you on YouTube?
What is this live stream?
Cool. Okay, all right.
I came here to look at cats, and I was met with you cuddling a cat, talking to a large person in a flowery shirt for 2 hours.
There was this John Candy on stream.
When did he come back?
Awesome.
Oh,
okay,
dear, right.
Dude, I think we covered everything and more that we actually wanted to cover. So thank you so much for joining in tonight and for bringing some of the old pals from ACCSS on the show, and SimRacing.gp and from Race Department, and yeah, cool.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks everyone for watching. If you enjoyed the show, be sure to stay on the lookout for the next part, which is coming. I'm trying to get a few more guests, but they are all so busy that they just can't find any time to reply to me. So let's see who comes up next. Maybe I have to pull in some favors from Dan or Steve, or I don't know. So that the biggest goal is actually now to get Jimmy Broadbent here.
Not promising anything, but
no. And that's it's not absolutely no priority, but it would be so cool at some point if he's like, hey, you have a cool podcast, let's do something. I always love to find out more about people, you know, what makes them tick. And like when you talk about what games you played when you were a kid, I think it's like everybody gets to know each other even better, because most of the time you discover similarities. Everybody has played some games like the other one in their childhood, and I think that's just awesome to know. His stream got weird. That's like an accomplishment. Thank you, Paul.
What did Paul say?
The stream got weird. Nice.
You're weird, Paul.
It's now time for some British tea.
British tea.
British tea in a British tea.
British tea, Yorkshire tea, bit of milk, bit of sugar.
You are stepping on my biscuit.
bit of EastEnders.
Okay. Oh my god.
Now it's really weird.
It's really weird. So on this terrible disappointment, it's time to end. Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you, Dan, for joining in. Be sure to leave some thumbs up, and yeah. I'll see you soon. Take care, everyone. Stay safe. Bye-bye.